Hello guys, and welcome back for chapter 11, the cardinal virtue of justice, whose boss name is incredibly hard to say and I still can't get the hang of it. Justicia. You know, I'm sure I've mentioned this detail before, but I like how the angels, generic angels here, have kind of human-like faces on the bases of their necks. You can kind of see it in one of these shots here. It would explain why the humans can think of these angels as heavenly beings as opposed to these weird winged freaks. I don't really have much to say about this little fighting bit before the boss. Nothing too hard about it. And the flaming armor still annoys me. Nothing Kilgore can't fix though.
You motherfucker.
Ah yes. If you excuse that really awkward slowdown, there is a lollipop in all the boss cutscenes, and there's the one. That one there I think is particularly hard to see, and I actually always forget that it's there. Because, hey, I normally skip all the cutscenes. My tip for you, by the way, if you're trying to use these lollipops, is to not mash the button ridiculously fast like you would on a QTE, but to sort of slowly mash it. Like 1 second presses. Kind of slow. It's very finicky about how it wants to be pressed.
Well, Kitty, what do you think we should do? He's hurt you, has he? Well, we can't be having that now, can we?
Justia. I'm pretty sure I'm still saying that wrong.
Let's rock, baby!
Now, Justia is Latin for justice, but it can also be spelled with a J, but it's pronounced the same way, so it makes that link to the words linked to justice much more obvious. The whole I being able to be replaced with a J thing is mostly due to the fact that the shape of a J used to be just the fancy way of writing an I, sorry. So you know when those sort of fancy loopy scripts say, for example, signature, the typographical flourishes there are called swashes. And the swash for an I looked a lot like a J, so since then, I's equaled J. And once J's were introduced, there was a period of time when they were had no distinct sound of their own. There was no distinction between the pronunciation of J and I, so they were, of course, interchangeable. So in this sense, either spelling is okay, but the pronunciation is, as I said, the same, Justicia. It's also the name of the Roman goddess of justice, and whose Greek equivalent is called Dike, or Dike, I'm not sure how you say it. Despite this, Justia's origins are based in Roman civic mindsets, not necessarily from a mythological source like Dike. So comparing the two is pointless, but they are technically equivalent to each other. So Dike actually was a mythological person, goddess, whatever. She was the daughter of Zeus, that crafty old bastard, and Themis, who was one of his many, and I do mean many, consorts. Themis is actually significant in that depending on what scripture you look at, she was the first personification of justice in Greek mythology. I suppose her daughter Dike was meant to be a sort of refined version of it or something? Anyway, getting on to justice as a cardinal virtue, Justice is described as the balance of selfishness and selflessness, or having one's fair share. Justice is the second ranked of the cardinal virtues, before fortitude and temperance and after prudence. We will be getting to next. Justice, as our good friend Father John A. Hardon notes in the Modern Catholic Dictionary, is a habitual inclination of the will. It is the, quote, the constant, permanent determination to give everyone his or her rightful due. While the theological virtue of charity emphasizes our duty to our fellow man because he is our fellow, justice is concerned with what we owe someone else precisely because he is not us. The just man, often mentioned in the Bible, is distinguished by habitual right thinking and the uprightness of his conduct toward his neighbour. Quote, you shall not be partial to the poor or defer to the great, but in righteousness shall you judge your neighbour. And another quote, masters, treat your slaves justly and fairly, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. Justice represents the rights of others, whether those rights are natural, such as the right to life, or legal, namely contract rights, constitutional rights, and civil rights, for example. Now, if our legal rights come into conflict with our natural rights, then natural rights should take precedent over our legal rights. In the same way, justice cannot allow the granting of legal rights to one's person at the expense of the natural rights of another. To fail to do so is to fail, quote, to give everyone his or her rightful due. Now, justice is represented by the sword, balance and scales, crown and the sword, all of which appear on Lady Justice, and I guess maybe in a sense also appears on Justitia here. Lady Justice represents the moral force in the judicial system, and whose visage can be seen around courthouses and the like. The personification of justice can be traced back to as early as ancient Egypt in the forms of Maat, I think that's right, M-A-T-T, then later Isis. However, since the 15th century, she has also been depicted wearing a blindfold, meant to represent the objectivity or impartiality in which justice should be served, without fear or favour, regardless of identity, money, power, or weakness. And that concludes our little info section on justice. And you know, it's funny, I never noticed this about this boss, but this boss is incredibly sexual. Just saying. I mean, come on, in a game that's just dripping with sexual symbolism. I didn't notice this one. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you miss this QTE here, it's an instant game over. And here we have the Infernal Demon? Yes, Infernal Demon. Scolopendra is actually the name of... it's a genus of centipedes from the Scolopendriae family. A little bit of info on those centipedes themselves. The centipedes in this family can live in temperate to tropical climates, and when found in the tropics can exceed 30 centimeters or 12 inches.
Still not enough.
That's a very big centipede.
You can go another round, can't you?
Centipedes in general are active predators, hunting prey as large as rodents or even bats. In general, centipede bites are very painful, but are rarely fatal. Except in very small children with bee sting allergies, and bites from larger centipedes can cause anaphylactic shock in people with bee allergies. Just in case centipedes weren't scary enough. But yeah, there was that boss, and frankly,
I
one
suppose
of the
one
more
of them is
boring
an adult,
bosses
so they should be okay.
quartet. Really not interesting. And there we go, pure
It's a
platinum.
celebration, bitches.
And I do believe after this one we have 5 or 6 updates left. And as of recording this right now, I have another 3 chapters to record, so we're getting there. I'm getting there. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching, if you did watch this, and I'll see you guys next time. See ya!